Hey fellow YouTubers, JJ the Trucker coming to you from just outside of Green Bay, Wisconsin. It is cold up in here. Man, I woke up this morning, it was -1 degree, which is pretty cold. Fortunately, the bunk heater is working. It wasn't, it was keeping me plenty warm, it was fine, but it wasn't getting as hot as it normally would. But, man, you have to shut the bunk heater off when the truck starts. So yeah, you get a period right there where it's cold because it takes a while for these trucks to warm up, and then you got to crank the heater up and heat the cab up again because you've lost all that heat. So yeah, this morning was a cold morning, so really wanted to dive in and talk to you guys about idling, because I'll be honest, idling has some advantages there. It will keep the entire truck warm. The bunk heater, it doesn't. It'll keep the space warm, you know, the bunk area space. If you got the curtain right here, if you got the curtain closed, it'll keep you warm enough, and that's fine, but the floor stays freezing cold. Yeah, but the once you're idling the truck though, oh man, it is nice, but you're using a lot more fuel, you're wear and tearing on the engine and all that stuff, so that's not good. We're going to talk about it a little bit. So the remaining segments that I've got here, those were all pre-recorded. I was going to throw them on the last video. The last video got a little too long, and I didn't want to, make it even longer. So I'm going to go ahead and throw those videos on there, or those clips on there right now, and we're just going to talk about the idling. All right. By the way, Green Bay just lost to Tampa Bay yesterday, last night. And I was at a truck stop, doing my laundry and shower and all that stuff last night. And after the game, oh man, everybody, all the cheeseheads were coming in, still wearing all their Green Bay stuff, still wearing their cheeseheads. And man, they were just so dejected. I felt really bad for them. I really did. But nope, I guess Tampa Bay ended up winning. So Tom Brady, what do you say? I don't follow sports all that much, but everybody knows Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers, and I guess it was a good game. I would imagine if it were snowing or blizzard conditions, the people from Tampa Bay probably wouldn't have stood a chance, but it wasn't. It was cold, but it wasn't that bad. Anyways, enough of all that stuff. Let's get into the topic of this video. Let's talk idling. I'll be right back. Idle Thoughts by JJ the Trucker. Let's talk idling. All right, so first of all, apologize for the sun. Yes, it's very sunny. Got the visors down, but whew, that sun is coming in. And I'm also being unloaded right now, so the truck may shake a little bit. All right, so idling. I've been told a lot of things regarding idling lately. Everything from I idle all the time, and I see trucks idling all the time, and I don't have any issues, to Prime saying, well, if you idle it too long, then it clogs up the DPF, the diesel particulate filter, and it can cause an expensive $15,000 repair. I talked to the guys at Peterbilt, and they said, well, what really happens is if you idle it for 10 hours, then it forces you to do a parked regen, which takes about 30 to 60 minutes. And if you don't do that parked regen and you drive, it will throw a permanent code, which will derate you, and you cannot get that code out of there until you visit a dealership so that they can check on the DPF. All right. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, idle speeds. How high should you idle, or what RPM should you idle at? And Prime says higher. It's got to be a high idle, although they wouldn't give me a specific number. And I've heard answers all over the place. So the key is the higher it is, the warmer it keeps the engine, or hotter it keeps the engine, which burns the diesel particulates. If it's too low, it doesn't burn those particulates. So I'm like, where am I going to find answers? Where can I actually find some real factual answers that aren't going to contradict, themselves and everything? And then it occurred to me, what about the manual? The manual itself should have the answers, right? Well, let me go ahead and put my old man glasses on here, and let me read exactly what the manual says. So first one, it says, If an engine must idle for an extended period of time, idle the engine at the lowest RPM that maintains the engine coolant at 150 degrees Fahrenheit, 70 degrees Celsius, or above. Following these guidelines will help reduce engine wear during idling and the frequency of DPF regeneration. So the higher you idle, the more wear and tear you've got going on, and the lower the temperature, the more damage you're going to do to the DPF, the diesel particulate filter. And so, what does that mean? Well, my normal operating temperature for this truck while I'm driving is about 190 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, all right? When I've idled at the lowest idle setting, which is 650 RPMs, it maintains about 180 to 200 degrees. So well above that 150 degree threshold. Now, if it's been sitting for a while and I'm just starting it up, then that's a different story. I'll high idle it to get it to build that temperature up. But once that temperature is above 150 degrees, you want to reduce that idling back down. All right. The challenge is, the lower the idle, the rougher it is. And I'm going to show you guys that here in a moment. I'll show you the differences in the idle speeds so you can see the differences. All right. But let's keep going. There's more information here. It says prolonged periods of idling can result in lower than optimal engine and transmission operating temperatures, which could cause increased rates of wear. An idle shutdown feature is available, etc., etc. That's the 5-minute. Oh, please just park there. Just stay there. Keep that sun out of my eyes. All right, he's not going to. Long periods of idle time of 3 or more hours, it says, may accelerate the buildup of soot in the diesel particulate filter, especially in cold weather. The system will illuminate the DPF warning light on the instrument cluster and a message on the driver information display to indicate that the DPF requires regeneration. And it's got a big old thing says right here, do not drive, DPF warm-up required. Okay, so if that happens, that is your forced park regen, and you have to actually do an actual manual regen before you can take off, or else it will derate you. All right. It says this is not a problem with the vehicle. However, it indicates that the driver needs to start a park DPF regen to prevent equipment damage caused by soot buildup. If the driver is prompted and let's see, if you ignore the warning lamp and do not regen at the safest possible time, the DPF will become increasingly clogged with soot and can lead to severe engine derate. Failure to comply may result in equipment or property damage. Okay, so if you see that message, you got to do a parked regen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Nowhere in there does it say anything about 10 hours being the limit. In fact, I have idled this thing for 12 hours. Didn't have to do a parked regen at all. The DPF gauge didn't even budge from the lowest part. But there's more. Extended idling may also increase hydrocarbon deposits and moisture in the DPF. That's not good. The engine will increase RPM automatically regardless if the DPF lamp is on or off to remove these hydrocarbon deposits and moisture. The engine speed will remain elevated for 20 to 60 minutes. Okay? Now, I've had this happen, and it happens in the middle of the night. You're sleeping, you're nice and sound asleep, and all of a sudden, the engine revs up. And it woke me up, and then 20 to 60 minutes later revs back down and the engine starts shaking again, wakes me up again. So that's kind of an inconvenience. And it just says, it goes on to say that you can interrupt it, but if you interrupt it, then 10 minutes later it will do the same thing again. So anyways, those are the main parts here of idling. So can you idle without causing damage to the DPF that's going to cost you $15,000? Yes, absolutely. There's no indication that that's going to be an issue because the truck will automatically do what it needs to do to protect that DPF, which is good. Maybe older trucks had that issue. This new one, 2021, doesn't seem to have that issue. Do you have to do a parked regen after 10 hours? No, not necessarily. Not unless the DPF has become clogged. How do you prevent it from being clogged up? Make sure your coolant temperature is maintaining 150 degrees or higher, which hasn't been an issue even in freezing temperatures at the low idle speed. Okay? And finally, if you want to make sure you're idling at the lowest possible speed to maintain that 150 degrees. You don't have to idle all the way up. For me, 650 idle is perfectly fine. All right, my paperwork is ready, so I'm going to come back and show you the different idling speeds. Let's go ahead and get her fired up. Ignition unlocked, which means I've already put my code in. And there we go. We are started. It is a cold day today. 21 degrees outside, as you can see. And I don't mind that 4.1 average MPG. That's not accurate. It just reset itself, and I only went down the street, so not a big deal. All right, let's see. I've been docked here for a little bit now, and you can see the temp is not quite at 150 degrees right now. So we've got to change that. Shall we change that? Let's go ahead and show you 650 RPMs right now. If we go over to the fuel economy portion, you can see that idling here at 650 RPMs, right there, 650, is using about a half gallon to 0.6 gallons per hour, and that's pretty standard. That's generally where it hovers, right there at the 650 mark. But we're not at 150 degrees on the coolant, so we've got to bump this up. How do you do that? Right here. You got to turn the cruise on right here. Cruise on and off. Turn it on. When I push that button, you see you get that little RPM symbol pop up right there. Okay, off, on. So to turn it up, this is what's confusing. I saw that there. I'm like, okay, well, to turn it up, you obviously, it's the same as the cruise, plus and minus. But watch what happens. Nothing. Nothing at all. Why? Because this is the up and down. Why? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. But push that up. Look at that. 750 RPMs. 850. 950. 1050. And then that is down. Yeah, these buttons still do nothing at all. Doesn't make sense. So we're going to get it up to 1050. How high does it go? 1900. Let's bring that back down. All right. So as you can see, it's in increments of 100 each time. So if you get it all the way up, then you get it in the increments of the actual hundreds. 700, 800, 900. If you get it all the way down to 650, which is the minimum, now you're in the 50 spot. So 650. 650 is a pretty rough idle. Things are shaking here. You can't really tell on the camera because I've got image stabilization on. So you're not going to be able to see that. And it shakes in different areas of the truck. Like the TV. The TV itself, I don't even know if this is going to show, but the TV does this number right here. Okay, maybe image stabilization will cancel that out, but it's shaky, and it's enough to make me seasick sometimes. So I really, I get used to it though after idling for a while. Okay, if I go up to 750, oops, let's turn that back on. 750. Now it's still a rough shake. Maybe this will pick this up right here. How much this is shaking. And it's still a rough shake. It's just a little bit of faster rough shake. Let's go up to 850. And you can see now this is a rough shake right here. This is a rumble. Okay, 950. It's not as drastic of a shake, but it is more of a rumble. But then something magic happens at 1050. Smooth as butter. Right there, we are at 1050 RPMs, smooth as butter. The TV doesn't shake, the truck doesn't shake. You can feel it vibrating. It's a slight vibration, but it's pretty darn smooth. So that's pretty nice right there. That's usually where I max it out at, but let's go up to 1150. That's actually even smoother. 1250 and 1050 are about the same, except 1250, you know, the vibration's a little faster. 1350, pretty smooth. So everything in the sweet spot. These green dots right here, pretty smooth. Yeah, 1450. Now I'm starting to get more of a vibration and a rattle. So let's bring it back down here. Okay, I'm going to leave it at 1150 until we get up to 150 degrees minimum. Now, it says in the book to idle at the lowest speed to maintain 150 degrees. Now, my normal operating temperature is up here right around 180. So 150, about 190, right up here. Okay, 180 to 200 is normal operating when I'm driving. So when I finish driving, that's about where it ends up, is right in that area. If I drop it down to 650, it's perfect. It will stay in that operating range all night long for most nights. If it is really, really cold like it was this morning, I had to bump it up a little bit periodically and then bump it back down. It was no big deal. You can see we are climbing up here. But yeah, 650 is a good, perfectly good RPM to set this to, and have it maintain at least 150 degrees. That has not been an issue for me. So hopefully that helps you guys out. But you can also see the MPG, or the MPG, the idle usage. We are now at 1 to 1.1 gallons per hour, so nearly double the fuel usage by idling high at 1150. Okay, we are almost at 150 degrees, so I'm going to drop this down to 1050, which is smooth. Actually, 1150 was a little smoother than 1050, gotta admit. But you can see already the fuel difference right there. It drops down to 0.8 gallons per hour. Not bad. And once we hit 150, we can lower it down. I'm going to do it just for kicks here. We can see the fuel mileage change. Now we're at 0.7 to 0.8. Drop it down to 850. Get a little bit better. 750 and 650. Obviously at 650 we're going to get our best fuel mileage. The lower the RPM, the better the fuel mileage. Plain and simple. Alright, I hope that helps explain idling, everybody. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. Nah, Bev's not dirty. She's just pre-treated for winter. Thank you for watching this feature presentation from me, JJ the Trucker. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up or two. I'd appreciate it. That way I know which videos you guys are enjoying. And you know what to do now. That's right. That's right. You see it right there. Click on my face. Click on my face. See what happens when you click on my face. You know you wanna. Other than that, check out some of my other videos for more great content, such as the one YouTube's recommending, the one I'm recommending, or for more free JJ the Trucker merch, check out the other video. Later.